Alright, before we review this Craig home theater system, I want to make a note that if you have heard of Ashens, you also know that he reviews really cheap stuff. But while I did get my idea to start doing this from him, I don't think I am ripping him off. Because you see, he buys really cheap crap, basically, and just to make fun of it. Whereas I buy lesser expensive or even dirt cheap stuff to see simply if it will work as good as the name brand higher dollar stuff. That way you don't have to pay extra to get something good. So with that out of the way, we're reviewing this here. You can find them at Fred's. I think they're about $50 or $60. You may be able to find them at Big Lots or any other discount store. And they advertise the complete true surround home entertainment speaker system. No speaker surround to the back of the room, and big complete sound on one cabinet, because you see, they claim it can bounce the sound off the walls to create sort of virtual speakers behind your head. Exactly the same on the other side. Now, so you back that up a little bit. It says includes 2 high-powered full-range speaker. They missed the S there apparently. 2 tweeters and 1 big bass subwoofer. Total peak power of 500 watts. Well, my first thought on that is 500 watts. That is not. I don't know where they're going to get that 500 from, but what you really want to pay attention to is the RMS 45 watts. That's what it actually runs at. If you ever buy any speaker systems and they say maximum power 500 watts or whatever, always look for the RMS, because that's what they can actually handle. The peak power is for like 1 second of burst, 1 second burst of sound. So that is where they can actually get that rating from, whereas if you tried to constantly push 500 watts through it, it'll explode, burn up, kill you, do all sorts of other stuff. I don't know. Anyhow, it says 3 additional audio inputs, connect TV, DVD, CD players, whatever. Auxiliary in connection, that's your standard 3.5 millimeter headphone port, and it does come with a double-ended headphone cord in the box, which is nice. It's got a built-in radio and true surround with bass boost on remote control. Piano back finishing, which looks nice but collects dust like you wouldn't believe. Yeah, there's the audio cable, and it comes with an FM antenna. So, there is the actual cabinet. As you can see, full mid-range speaker, tweeter, and yes, they do actually have speakers up in there. They're not just holes made to look like it. And the subwoofer is on top underneath this cloth right here. As you can see, it's not incredibly big, but it sounds pretty nice. Now, my first complaint is the controls on the front use these little buttons. They're really small and they don't seem to... Sometimes they don't seem to pick up they're actually being pressed very well. And also, it's got a nice backlit screen, but I find it really hard to see unless I'm really close to it. As you can see, I'm within arm's length and I can see it, but if I'm sitting in like a chair and this is, you know, underneath your TV like they advertise you can do, or on top of it, I find it to be really hard to see the volume level or what input it's on. But, you know, that's not really crucial, as you can just turn it up until you feel like, you know, until you can hear it, but still would be nice to see, especially when you're on the tuner where it shows the frequency, because you don't know what frequency you're on unless, you know, since you can't see it. Now, here's the little clicker. Standby SRS mode, which is the virtual surround sound. Mute, input, memory for, that's how you set your radio presets. Reset, to be honest, I don't know what that does. Oh. Okay, it apparently completely resets it to standard volume levels, and let's see, sets it back to the radio. We'll put it back on my computer for now. Turn it down. And you can scan, manual search, or search via presets. You have a subwoofer control right here, volume control on the bottom. Now the subwoofer control comes with 5 settings in either direction, and it sounds pretty good on just your standard right in the middle, but if you want a little extra bass, it can squeeze a little more out of there. Now, when you first turn it on, if you don't have anything going into it, like no input on, or if you're, you know, like your iPod's turned off, you will notice there's a slight hissing noise coming out of the speakers. Unfortunately, this is a constant. It will always hiss. I have tried multiple different outlets to see if it was a grounding problem. It just simply hisses whenever it's on. And turning on the surround sound, the SRS, just makes it worse. I don't know if you can hear that over the computer, but it is like twice as loud now. So the SRS mode really kind of makes it worse. And anyhow, even with the SRS mode on, I didn't notice a so-called surround sound effect. However, I'm used to a true 5.1 system, so maybe I'm a little biased in that area. But still, there's no excuse for the hissing sound. But if you turn SRS off and you actually turn the volume up where you can hear things, the hissing noise becomes unnoticeable. You can't hear it over the music. So, now, those are really the only problems with this unit itself. Overall, it sounds pretty darn good. Now, obviously, it's not going to compete with some, you know, real high dollar amplifier. Sorry, that was the phone. But it sounds pretty good, and for a small bedroom or a kid's room, or even just like here down in the basement, I'm using it for the old computer down here just to listen to music, and it works really well for that. Overall, I really don't have any complaints with it, and it seems a really well built unit. It's actually made of probably particle board, but it's pretty solidly built, and it's got extra inputs on the back for whatever you want to do, so that's pretty nice. And radio reception isn't real good down here in the basement, but it seemed to pull in a fair number of channels even down here underground. So the tuner seems to be pretty good on it too. Okay, so my overall opinion on this, yeah, I'd recommend it. 50 or 60 bucks ain't half bad for a good all-in-one system. Sounds great, has some nice bass to it. Don't expect to get surround sound out of it though, so that may come as a bit of a disappointment to some people. But for your just standard stereo sound, like in just about any video game or TV or your computer, sounds great, works great. Really compact, can easily set a flat screen on top of it or balance it on top of a tube TV if you have it that way. So yeah, pretty good deal, I'd say.